Hello students, today we are going to start with the another poem from the first flight textbook, that is Fire and Ice. This poem is written by Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost was born on 26 March 1874. He belongs to 20th century, but still he is different from other modern poets because he is modern in his spirits and traditional in his style of poetry. Let me introduce the poem to you. Fire and Ice is a short poem consisting of two stanzas. These two stanzas deals with two possibilities of destruction of the world. How the poet has used the two elements fire and ice both literally and symbolically is worth appreciating. Fire and Ice, the title itself conveys the gist of the poem. Fire and ice are used symbolically for two contrary sets of emotions. Robert Frost represents fire with fiery passions like fury, cruelty, violence, and greed. And this ice represents cold feelings, that is hatred, indifference, and insensitivity. Now I am going to give you stanza-wise explanation. Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So here the poet says that world will end in fire and ice. People are divided on this issue. Some believe that the world will end in fire. Fire of passions and desire will lead to the end of the world. Some people think that the world will end in ice. Cold reasoning and hate will lead this world to destructions. However, the poet has experienced passions of love and desire. He supports those who believe that fire of passions and desire will lead to the destruction of the existing world. Next stanza. But if it had to perish twice, perish means to destroy, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. Suffice that this means enough. So here the poet says that fire can bring the destruction of the existing world. But if this existing world has to be destroyed not once but twice, then ice is strong enough to do this job. The poet has seen and experienced enough of hatred in this world. Cold reasoning devoid of human feeling only produce hate. And this cold reasoning is like ice. Ice itself is sufficient enough to cause the destruction of this world. And now I am going to discuss some poetic device with you. Some say the world will end in fire. In this line, there is alliteration figure of speech because the consonant sound W is repeated in the words world and will, and S consonant sound is repeated in the words some and say. And there is a repetition also in this line because the words some say are repeated for poetic effect. And in this line only there is antithesis figure of speech because opposite words fire and ice are used for poetic effect. And there is also metaphor figure of speech in it because there is indirect comparison between fire and desire. Next line. From what I have tasted of desire. So here there are two figure of speech, that is metaphor and metonymy. Metaphor because there is an indirect comparison between desire and fire, and metonymy because the word desire represents fire. Next line. I hold with those who favor fire. So there are three figure of speech in this line, that is metaphor, metonymy, and alliteration. Metaphor because there is indirect comparison between fire and desire. Metonymy because the word fire represents desire. And alliteration because of the consonant sound F is repeated in the words fire and favor. Next line. But if it had to perish twice, there is hyperbole figure of speech in it because there is an overstatement that if the world had to die twice. Next line, I think I know enough of hate. Here there are two figures of speech, that is metonymy and repetition. Metonymy because the word hate represents eyes, and repetition because I is repeated for poetic effect. Next line, to say that for destruction, eyes is also great and would suffice. So here there are four figure of speech in this line: alliteration, metonymy, metaphor, and internal rhyme. Alliteration because of the consonant sound S is repeated in the words suffice and say. Metonymy because eyes represents hate. Metaphor because there is an indirect comparison between eyes and hatred. And internal rhyme because the rhyming words eyes and suffice are used in the same sentence. So I hope students you would have understood the poem and poetic devices. Thank you.